to the Five. Well, I'm sure you've heard us talk about Obamacare here on the Five and how a number of states are challenging it. Well, a Virginia judge has ruled against that state in 2 decisions, issuing a major win for Obamacare. Or is it? Well, the Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals says Virginia has no right to challenge the president's health care overhaul. So, Andrea, is this the win that it's being played up to by the supporters of Obamacare?
No, this was totally predictable and expected. The panel was made up of 3 Democrats, 2 Obama appointees, so big shocker. Look, this is marching directly to the Supreme Court, and it's going to be a huge fight, and it should be, because it is unconstitutional. And
this is an issue that he basically made a ruling about standing, which is, do you have the right to bring the case, and wasn't necessarily ruling on the merits as to whether or not this is a penalty by mandating everyone to have mandatory insurance.
Although in both cases, the judges wrote that if they were to vote on the substance of the law, they would have voted against the plaintiffs in this case and allowed the health care reform bill to move forward and become law. And by the way, we said something in this program the other day that I think we need to get corrected. There is nobody losing jobs because of Obamacare, because it doesn't come into effect till 2014. Okay?
But people are making business decisions, hiring, and
they're using that as an excuse, as the rotten insurance company.
Because they have to forecast.
What they're doing is they're planning. In fact, we know people. I have very good friends who've been notified that they're going to have to find their own health insurance because their company is going to take the fee, the penalty, or the fee, whatever you call it, the tax, really, instead of providing health care for the employees.
Well, why don't we jump on these rip-off insurance companies that keep raising their premiums because they say, Obamacare, we're going to raise our premiums. These guys have been ripping people off in this country for
a lot of years. Part of Obamacare to make sure that they didn't raise their premiums.
If it were up to me, they'd been a single-payer plan and done away with insurance.
And then what's next? Price controls? That's what happened with Ronald
Absolutely. I would like a single-payer plan.
Look, you cannot,
I can't get it.
This is what they're doing. They're telling the insurance companies, you have to provide all of these different services. People are different, right? They have different needs, different services. That's why we agree, Bob, opening it up state lines. Even Bob agrees.
I'm for opening across state lines, but the idea of defending insurance companies.
You cannot tell an insurance company
like
that you have to provide all of these services.
That good, huh?
Bob, you cannot tell an insurance company you have to provide all of these services, but you can't raise the price of the premium.
Eric,
no, I'm just trying to figure out. You're for opening up state lines for what reason? If you want a single payer,
I said I can't win. No, I said I can't win on single payer. I've been beaten on that. I accept the reality of it.
Defeat on that. Therefore,
I say that you ought to then have competitive bidding across state lines, and I also think, frankly, on my side, we ought to have tort reform. The trial lawyers ought to say there ought to be a cap on what you can get for pain and suffering.
Here's the thing. Obamacare is a noxious blimp of confusion. And the ultimate consequence of it is what is the problem we're here with our economy, in that Obama put all his eggs in that basket, completely misread the economy because he was so consumed and subsumed by this issue that he's now in deep trouble. I kind of respect him for going all out on this, but it's hurt the country.
But it's still partisan politics.
Noxious,
a noxious cloud of stupidity? I can't remember.
No, a blimp.
Somebody said that about you, and I defended you.
Noxious blimp.
All right,
yes.
But, Bob, your point about it, businesses, people not losing jobs, if you're at 50 or 49 employees and that 50th employee is going to put you over the edge where you have to start shelling out more money, you're probably not going to hire them.
I understand the potential pitfalls, but let's not blame this on this bill now. Let's blame it where it deserves to be put, and that is the feet of the insurance companies that have been at this for 100 years.
We're going to agree to disagree.
Okay.
Very peacefully on this Friday with the elevated terror threat. But let's talk about the super committee. That's not a controversial subject at all. But if I were them, I wouldn't be sleeping last night or until they have to meet, because boy, do they have the onus on them now to try and make this work, because the president said they're going to do it.
Because Mr. Obama just gave them another $447 billion of spending cuts or revenue increases to come up with. So they're going to go from a $1.2 trillion to what? $1.7 trillion they're going to find. And I'm not surprised that Kyle says, look, he
said he's going to quit.
This is crazy. What am I going to find $1.5 trillion or lose defense spending?
Right. That's right. Let Kyle,
no, I just say let Kyle quit. That's one less vote we have to worry about.
You like that?
I'm just happy to see that boy go right back to Arizona. But look, here's the deal here. He also said we can vote against these triggers. That's wrong. They can't. It takes 2/3 vote.
Right.
And you can pass it on to another Congress. It is law. And the other thing I would say is that this committee is under enormous pressure to come up with something big, and they will come up with something big, because if not, it's bad politically and it's bad in the market.
But, Bob, last night the president stood in front of the nation and said we don't need a system that favors big corporations and lobbyists. The lobbyists are the ones lobbying these super committee members to protect their industries. Obama just creates lobbying, feeding frenzies wherever he goes.
About this is nobody on that committee is in a vulnerable seat,
right?
Which is important.
But it seems like as well that he's abdicating responsibility there and passing it to the super committee. All right, well, coming up, we're going to move to some 2012 news. That's next. We're going to get into the battle between Mitt Romney and Rick Perry, escalating in Huntman's campaign shakeup. It's all here. Don't forget to email us at the5@foxnews.com.
How'd you get